7 o'clock on July 10th, here in the Aldermanic Chamber. Do you have a script, or do you want me to do this? Oh,
Either way.
would you mind calling the roll?
Okay. Alderwoman June Karen. Here. Alderwoman Melissa Goya. Alderman Tom Lopez.
Here.
Alderman Don LeBrun here. Alderman at Large Lloyd Wilshire.
I am here. Thank you very much. Public comment, there is no one in the audience tonight. We have communications. We have a communication from Sarah Marchant, Community Development Director, regarding the State of New Hampshire DOT appropriation for construction engineering services for the Park and Ride. Could I have a motion on that communication?
I'll make a motion to file the, from Sarah Marchant concerning the Park and Ride.
Motion is to accept the communication, place it on file. Discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? That motion carries. We have a communication from Carrie Skeena, UPD Manager, that's Urban Programs Department Manager, regarding the FY18 Draft Annual Action Plan available. A motion on that? Alderman Karen.
Sure, I'll make a motion that we accept the communication from Carrie Skeena and place on file.
Motion is to accept and place on file. Discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Unfinished business. We have none. New business resolutions. R17-108, relative to the acceptance and appropriation of an additional $97,923.28 from the State of New Hampshire Department of Transportation into grant activity Crown Street Park and Ride, and to authorize the transfer of matching funds in the amount of $24,480.82. What's the committee's pleasure? Alderman Karen?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve R-17-108 as presented.
Motion to recommend final passage of 17-108. Discussion on that motion. Alderman LeBrun.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, I'm always about taking money from the state if they want to give us money, but I see this as money that we would be getting before we even know whether this is ever going to take place. The Park and Ride I have no problem with, but it also mentions the rail station, providing we ever get rail. It's debatable that the city is ever going to get rail. And I just believe that we're just throwing money at a bad situation at this time. I think we need more information, and we need to know where we're going forward.
Further discussion, Alderman Lopez.
The counter argument, though, if we don't prepare ourselves to get rail, we're just talking about doing it. We're not actually delivering on any possible strategies for actually achieving it.
I agree, with Alderman Lopez. I think that if we do nothing, you know, we've expressed as a community, as a whole, that we would like to see commuter rail come to New Hampshire, come to Nashua, and provide that added benefit to our citizens, to get them off of Route 3, stuck in traffic, and down to Boston, and hopefully at some point up to the Manchester airport. I think it's a disservice to not do something to at least get the gears rolling, get the plan in motion. And I understand that it's probably some ways off, but if we do nothing to lay the groundwork, nothing will happen. So that's my take. Further discussion, Alderman LeBrun.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I believe we have to at least have some sort of indication that we may possibly get rail at some time or another. As it stands right now, there is basically no chance whatsoever that we're going to get rail anytime in the near future. And to waste money on a what is billed as a train station and possibly not get rail anytime in our lifetime, uh, what is the sense of putting money into studies and engineering studies and such, consultant fees and everything else, for something that, in all likelihood, at this time, we're probably never going to see in our lifetime?
Well, I appreciate your take on that, and, you know, even if I don't agree with it, I appreciate that you have a difference of opinion, and, you know, there may be other people that feel that way. But I think, personally, if you don't lay the groundwork, nothing will happen. And I think putting this towards the park and ride, the city owns the property. And it's just sitting there doing nothing. So to use it as a park and ride and to get something going on the site and to keep it open and ready for if and when we do get real, I'm a little more optimistic. So that's my take. Alderman Lopez.
you.
You bet.
Yeah, I mean, you can't lead from behind. If we are serious about improving transportation opportunities for Nashuans and in Nashua, we can't say it will probably never happen. That's where we have to lead. So we have a tangible benefit here, working on the parking ride and continuing a project that we've already started, and is to Nashua's benefit. It's an improvement in our infrastructure. The fact that it does also potentially pave the way for a larger project, that's just a bonus. And if the state is one venue for not for getting that done, and that doesn't really, follow through, then we can't just, number one, conclude that it's never going to happen, and we can't limit ourselves to only one possible way for it to happen. There's other partners. I mean, public-private partnership, changing the design, limiting the design, coming up with a reasonable plan. That's just forward thinking. And I think we have to start practicing that, because the need for the commuter rail is something that everybody generally agrees upon as in terms of the benefits. There's a lot of debate with regards to the study, and that's where I agree with Alderman LeBrun that the study as it was presented through the state and as it has been supported in the State House is not particularly promising. We still have to do what's right for Nashua. We still have a project right in front of us that we can achieve. And I mean, to his earlier point, if the state wants to give us money, why would we say no?
Well, the thing is, I went out with Mayor Donchis to most of the ward meetings that he held, and I think that was one of the things that I heard at every ward meeting, was that people wanted us to push forward for commuter rail. So I will support this as it stands. Alderman LeBrun.
I agree with you, Madam Chair, that at all the ward meetings and here in the city, everybody is enthusiastic about rail. But knowing how the state stands, unless we find some way to bring people from the outskirts of the state, from the western side of the state, the eastern side of the state, toward the middle, rail is not going to have a chance of passing at the state level unless we find a way to bring those people to it. And right now, we have no plan whatsoever to bring those people to it. And as long as they're not included, those legislators are going to vote against it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Karen.
I think we talk about this as the rail facility, but we bought the land so that we could do some work there. And even if the rail doesn't come, there's always potential for other things, a park and ride for buses and things like that. It's just like buying the Burke Street project. We bought it because there is property that belongs to the city, which is called the treatment plant, and there's a lot of residential. And without that, even if nothing happens for the next 10 years, somewhere down the line, the federal government's going to say, you need to do this, this, and this. We have that facility. So, sometimes, well, I always said it for 40-some-odd years, sometimes we're penny wise and pound foolish, and then we're kicking ourselves, 10 years down the road that we didn't do something. And I appreciate Alderman LeBrun's thing. So if you don't get the rest of the state to buy into the fact that we need rail from here all the way up, it's never going to happen. But I think we have to think positively that that piece of property and the money we use towards it will be utilized in a good way somewhere down the line. So I am in favor of this. Thank you.
Alderman. Thank you, Alderman Karen. Alderman LeBrun.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You mentioned the Burke Street property. The Burke Street property was bought because it was a good price. Now we have an elephant on our back that is going to cost millions and millions of dollars that we did not expect to have to spend on it.
Well, I do agree that with Alderman Karen's perspective on the regulations getting stricter, the more treatment we may have to do with our wastewater, to have that, at least the abutting property, to make those necessary mandated compliance things, I think we really needed to purchase that. Alderman Lopez.
I would also just observe that the strategy for this, the plan, while it could be a park and ride and a parking lot for the commuter rail, this is a slightly more intelligent design than the Burke Street project, because we know what it is. We know what we're building. We have the money to build it. It's an achievable goal. I wish this had the Burke Street Park project had been more along this lines, where it was like, okay, here's a step we're going to take, and it can be accomplished. And if something else comes along, then we have this step that is in tune with that. That wasn't as developed as this was. It's still a good deal. I still understand the logic behind it. I think we do need to work on how to make the Burke Street project work at this point, because we do need the space for public works and for other city departments. We have a growing need in our community for those kind of services. But for the park and ride, this is kind of open and shut. You build it, you have the park and ride, people can use it now, even if it's just parking there and then commuting collectively, either through carpools or bus or whatever. It's kind of a straightforward project that also has a possible benefit down the road. I completely understand what Alderman LeBrun is saying in terms of you have to get the rest of the state involved if you're going to do commuter rail into the rest of the state. And that is looking a little dim, because our state representatives don't look like they're all thinking collectively. They're all representing their own areas of New Hampshire. And that's why we have such a big representative body. But for Nashua, which is what our roles are here as aldermen, this is completing a project for a park and ride. It's something that'll benefit our constituents, our people. And if we can figure out something out with commuter rail, then awesome. We're even more prepared for it than we would be if we didn't do anything.
The motion before us is to recommend final passage. Is there further discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye. I mean,
Nay.
no.
That is 3, 4, and 1 against. Thank you.
But perhaps some
Motion
room for
passes.
negotiation?
Okay, now we have Resolution 17110, reprogramming activity balances and revising funding under the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, for fiscal year 2018. Do we have a motion? Alderman Karen.
Yes, I'll make a motion for final passage of R-17-110 concerning CDBG fiscal year 2018.
Thank you, Alderman
You're
Karen.
welcome.
The purpose of this is, we knew when we put the CDBG funding plan together that we did not have HUD's final number. Congress had not passed the budget yet, so we didn't know what our entitlement was for CDBG. We put together our funding plan, and then we found out that we were getting 2.3% less than we anticipated. And so what the Urban Programs Department did was they went back to some projects back to 2015 and 2017, and they're reprogramming those funds to meet the needs of our current FY18 funding plan. So that's what this resolution is for. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. New business, we have none. Tabled in committee. Do we have a motion to take that from the table? Alderman Karen.
Okay, I make a motion to take from the table R-17-105.
Motion is to take from the table 17105. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. Is there a motion on R 17105? Alderman Karen.
Okay, I make a motion for final passage of R-17-105.
Thank you, Alderman Karen.
You're welcome.
Now, this is the resolution we had taken up at our last meeting, and Carrie had sent the draft plan out to the committee. Committee had some questions that she needed to address, so I don't know if anyone still has questions on this. Alderman Lopez?
I think my question last time was just that it wasn't with the agenda. It's still not, but it's online, it's more visible, and I think the committee's had a better chance to review it.
Okay.
I'm just a stickler for any HUD announcements for fair housing, making sure that the public actually does get to review them.
Okay. Motion before us is to recommend final passage of Resolution 17-105. Is there further discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. General discussion. Seeing none, public comment, there's no one here. Remarks by Alderman. Alderman Lopez.
I'd just like to remark that the Dancing in the Streets event went very well for its first time ever. We had a really great turnout. A lot of people came out. They danced. It was a good time.
I wasn't able to be there. I had another event going on, but I saw some of the videos posted. It looked like it was really well attended, and it looked like people had a lot of fun. That was a great idea.
I think we had a tremendous amount of talent in terms of dancers. Great American Downtown put a huge amount of work into assembling their stage and then disassembling it afterwards. Like, it took us like 2 hours after the event was done to cart it all back to where it came from. And the food trucks were a nice touch. The empanada truck is a downtown favorite, so everyone kind of had their turn on that, and I think it was a really good event overall. It was
Nice.
simple, straightforward. People really came out and they enjoyed it.
That's nice. It looked like people really enjoyed themselves. I wish I had been there.
As a note for the future, perhaps Citizens Bank or CVS might want to sponsor it, because virtually every picture taken of that event had them sitting in the background, so it was like free publicity for them.
Good PR.
Further remarks? Seeing none, no need for a non-public. Do I have a motion?
Motion to
Alderman-
adjourn?
Oh, motion is to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? And we are adjourned at 7:18 PM.